Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another Building the Tantive in Lego update. And first of all, I'd like to say a massive thank you once again to Teagles216 for your $50 donation at the last video. I've just blown away by your generosity, Teagles. It is so appreciated. Thank you so much. It helps so much with the Tantive build. So yeah, you are a superstar. Now, as you can see, the Tantive is propped up against the wall at the moment. And the reason for that is it's so heavy on that front end at the moment, it just wants to tip over. The Technic pins are popping on the bottom of the display stand just there. So I really do need to work on strengthening all of that up and work out how I'm going to go about doing so. The other option is to just put a lot of weight on the back here, and that solves the problem. Now, there is going to be a chunky bit of build on the back here, and this slopes up as we go further back. So I'm not too worried long term about it, but obviously we do still have a lot of building to do on the front as well. So yeah, we need to make sure it's strong as we go along. Now, there are a couple of things I'm wondering about what to work on in this update. There's so many places to go with it. The cockpit is one area I really want to work on. Starting the panels around the cockpit is another part. I haven't ordered the pieces in to do the opposite side of that just yet. I have had a lego.com order come through, which I will be opening in this video, and there are some parts I'm hoping for the Tantive in there. But one part I do want to work on is the corridor section just here. Get a bit more work done on that, but also put some lights in on here which will be going through. So at the moment we have some black grills here which have got some red plates behind, and it'd be nice to have those lit up a little bit if we can. So that's one of the things we're going to be working on. But one other part would be quite nice to work on is the slope bit that comes up the back of the slope bit that comes up from here. But anyway, without further ado, let's go get the parcel and see what's in it. And I've just sorted through the Lego packet, and these were the parts which were for the Tantive. So the majority was for the Gotham City, and I will show the other parts in my Gotham City video as to what was for that. But here we have the curved slope pieces which are for the bottom of the corridor. We have the double cheese wedge piece just here. These are on part of the corridor as well. So the majority of this is for corridor extensions. We got the brackets, and we've also got the curved part that goes up the top of the corridor. The panels go on the wall. And finally, to make the order up, I also got some of these curved slopes. I'm going to try and get a few of these every time I place an order with Lego, just to try and spread the cost of the engines should I go down that route. So I need to make mine up quite soon, whether that is the way I'm going to go forward. These are going to come in massively handy the whole way through the Tantive build, as I've already started using them on this section just here. So yeah, we'll be getting through hundreds of those. And the first thing I'm going to tackle in this update is this display stand. I'm just going to try and get a bit more strength into it. I'm probably going to do a little bit more work on the visuals of this as well, tidy it up all at the same time. It's something that's going to need doing, and hopefully we can work out a way of getting this nice and strong now. It's pretty pointless me putting it off too long, because if I get the whole lot of this all finished and then it turns out that this display stand is just no good at all and I've got to redo it, it could cause a lot of problems further down the line. And here we have our display stand, and this is the second attempt. The first one I used dark bluish grey, as you'll see all the bricks on the table there, and I put an image on the screen now of what it looked like. However, it was just so heavy, and it was going back to pretty much the old style of being super heavy, whereas I was trying to use as much Technic as possible to keep the weight down, and this was the end result. This is a compromise of that, and yeah, relatively happy with how this has come out. It'd be nice if I could cover these corners with plates or something like that. So got a couple of ideas of how I may get away with doing that, and it won't be too heavy. That's the most important thing. But making the display stand look all polished is very low on my priority list at the moment, because this is the sort of thing I can decorate at the very end. But anyway, now we can finally work our way back up to the main build itself and see what we can get done in this update. And here we have the blueprints in front of us that we're using for our measurements. In this section here, I just need to work out how tall this needs to be brick-wise, what the angle is going to be along there. And I'm thinking about using tiles and plates to do the side. I think it's going to be a lighter way of doing it, and possibly a way of getting more details in. I think by doing it brick built, it is a little bit harder to get levels in there. So yeah, I think we'll go for that technique. I know I need to get some weight on the back of this section just here to help counteract the huge front end of the ship, but obviously I need to try and make the build as light as possible if we can. There's lots of details I'm looking forward to replicating on that top section. Now we'll be making this nice and hollow so we can have the lights going through to the corridor, which is below, which we've already started building, but also I can feed the wires up from the walls here into that section. And I'm going to be using a lot of the wireless connector boards that you get from Game of Bricks, and I think that's going to be the perfect way for me to have the lights going all the way out throughout the vessel without actually having to connect the plug each section together. So they are, in my opinion, a real game changer when it comes to mock building and lighting up your mocks. I know I've said that 100 times in my other videos, but yeah, they really are a top product. And I'd highly recommend checking out the Game of Bricks lights. I'll leave a link in the description, and if you do buy any lights from Game of Bricks, if you use the code Dubbzi, you will receive 25% off your order. It does help the channel as well. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get the ruler out, start measuring it, and work out how many bricks high that section needs to be. And here we have our blueprints, and we're just working on this section just here at the moment. That's slope, and the wedge plate is the perfect angle for that. So I've worked out that from this point just here to here is 40 studs in length. So we can get away with using 10 of those wedge plates, and that's going to be absolutely perfect. Now what I need to do is get all of these details onto the panel on the side, and I'm going to replicate it on both sides, and then on the top there again we'll try and get as much detail as possible into the build. And what I'll probably do is just attach these to snot bricks, then that should work out perfectly, and I'll just probably rest this part on the top of it. Now up here where that white brick is at the moment, I've worked out that that is where the start of the triangle sits on top of. So I need to build up this entire section here. And with this corridor, I want to have it so there's light coming down into it, because the roof's going to be permanently on there. So I need to light up the corridor, but obviously I don't want to be using spotlights. So I just need to work out how I'm going to go about doing the lighting in that corridor section. But we'll worry about that later. We're going to have plenty of room to work on the top. And with all of these panels, I can easily remove them and put them back on. But yeah, let's start experimenting with getting these details onto the panel here, or actually making the panel. And I'll check back in when I make some progress. And here we have the first panel without any details or tiling on there. And we have to go quite thick in some places with the plates just so I can get it indented and nice and firm as well. But I think this is going to work out really well once we've got it all tiled on here. Now, it would be nice if I had some larger tiles, say some 6x6 or some 4x4s. But what I'll do is I'll just use the tiles I've got, which are the 2x4s, which I picked up at the Lego store. And then I can easily peel them off at a later stage and put some larger tiles on, should I wish to do so. But anyway, let's get back to putting some details into the side panel here. Then we can work on the opposite side. And here we have the side panels. So we've got the holes here. They're what I've just done for that section just there. We've got these 4 squares just there. I'm not sure whether they're in the right place, but I've opted to put them there. We've got the pipe work here, which is this part here. And it looks like a bar going across there, which we have just there. And then I've added a couple other details on there just to give it that little bit more character. But now we've done that, what I need to do is just work on the actual main structure itself up here, get that all built up so we can then start attaching those on, and then I can work on the slope that goes on the very top. And I was just starting to work on the roof section here, and this was the panel that I had originally made, and I was going to attach that to it and have 3 lights going through there. However, it's not actually accurate what you see in the movie. If you look at this image on screen now, you can see that they're almost like big panels. So what I've decided to do, rather than attach this as it is at the moment, I'm going to tile off the top section just there, and then I'm going to make a panel which sits upside down. I'm then going to use some of the 6x6 tiles and put a strong light bulb above each one and hope that glows up to give it the effect that you see in the movie. Now, I'm not convinced it's going to light that up that well. So if that is the case, then we'll have to find a way to get an additional light into there so I can give it the sort of effect that you see in the film. So yeah, it's going to be quite the challenge getting this to look as screen accurate as possible. With these roof sections, I'm going to need to order the bulbs in, I'm going to need to order the tiles in. There's a whole load of pieces I'm going to need. So I just need to make sure that when I'm building all of this, the next section up on here, which is what we're doing at the moment, that I can still slide the roof panels in to the correct place. And one thing I forgot I needed to do is put some holes in the back of the wall there so I can feed a light through the behind the plate, so that when that lights up, we have a little bit of a red glow coming through the wall there. So I'm just going to take the panels off, work out which bricks I need to swap over, get those all done, and then that'll be all ready for when we put the lights in. And there we have the light on behind the panel there, and it's working perfectly. There's only one bulb in behind the left-hand grill at the moment, so once I've got a second one into the right of it, that'll work out absolutely fine. And I've put a couple behind these ones here, the Technic holes, so that'll all be good. But this is really positive because how much that's glowing at the moment just using the warm white light. I'm hoping that if I use a proper white light on the roof sections along here, the white panel as well, hopefully be easier to shine through than the red one as well. We might get the look we're after. What I will need to do though is order in some more lights. The ones I've got at the moment are all 30cm long cables, and it'd be nice to have some shorter length ones, just so there's not as many wires that I need to tidy up behind all of that there. So yeah, that's just something we're put on our list of things we need to order in the coming weeks. And there we have the support structure for the slope that's going on the top here. Now I do need to put a lot more strength into this section just here. At the moment there are lots of smaller plates and the brick as well. So what I'm going to try and do is order some of the 16x2 plates, some of the 16 long bricks as well, and just do multiple plates along there. Just try and give it that little bit more strength. Now I'm not going to be pushing down on this. I'm sure pretty sure it's going to be okay once it's all done, but yeah, better to be safe than sorry. But now we got this section here all stable. What I need to do now is just do the slope that goes on the top, and once I've done that, we can attach all three of them on there and see how it's come out. And I'm really glad I've just looked at the cross section here. I was just looking to see what the details were like in the book for the top bit here. Were they in different colours? Was it all white and so forth? And I just noticed that this part here that I've done is not a like triangular shape. It actually comes down here. So this curved slope section goes down and then you go along. So this part here, where these four squares are, I've put them more up here. So I just need to make a couple of amendments to that plate section I've just done, make it come down further. So when I put the curved slopes on here, it comes up to it better. So yeah, let's just make those amendments first of all. And then once I've done so, I'll make a start on doing that top section. And here we have the revised panels, and the part section just there will be covered in bricks. I'll then be able to put the slopes up against it. So I'm hoping that this is going to work out a little bit better, and also happy with how the new details come along there. Been able to spread them out a little bit more, which is nice. So fingers crossed this is going to look really good once we got it all finished. And here we have the top panel ready to be put onto the ship, and it took me quite a while to get the details on there how I wanted it to. I just think I was being so fussy on the front part, but yeah, got there eventually. Now what we'll do, we'll attach this along with those two side panels to the actual ship and see how it's looking. And there we have the panels all in place, and absolutely loving how this is coming together. There are a couple of bits I am going to be changing, like these slopes here. I've just used these as they were the only ones I had. I want to get the one that's this angle here, so I will order some of those when I place my next order. Now, one part I'm not that happy about is the gap that we've got here. It's not massive, but you can see in there a little bit, which I don't want to happen. Due to having lights in here, I don't want it to be really noticeable. So yeah, I will be playing around with the Technic structure inside of there and see if I can get it a little bit closer to the wedge plates there. But yeah, luckily enough, due to the way that I'm building this, I can just peel the panels off, make the amendments, and stick the panels back on. The panels aren't going to change in size, so that's all good. Now, what I will be doing is changing these Technic bricks over to white ones, and also filling these gaps in along here and again at the bottom there. I want it so that if when I put the curve bits on there, if there is any gaps, all you can see is white. Whereas when I rotate this around, around here, we've just got multicolored bricks everywhere. So once again, I will see if I can swap a few of these over. It will be easy to do. I am going to have the lights coming through the Technic holes just there and just down here as well. But from about here, we should have the curved section covering all of that anyway, so yeah, shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, really pleased with how this is coming together. It's so nice putting the greebling on the build rather than just building the actual structure itself. But what I do want to start doing in the very next update is trying to work on covering the actual cone section on the end here, and also start work on the cockpit section as well. I'm really looking forward to getting those details in the cockpit. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. If you know anybody else you think would be interested in building the Tantive in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.